On a scale from late for dinner to having an affair, he was pretty high up there. What's he done?
Oh, nothing. Things have just been a bit tense between us recently, but he's clearly trying to make things right.
Aww.
And I hear that you're having a bit of a romance.
Who told you that?
Rita?
It's nothing. We're just casual.
Are you catching feelings?
Am I what?
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 189 of The Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that missed the episode where Speed Dial stopped serving authentic Pakistani street food and started offering massages and lap dances, and I wonder if anyone thought to tell homeless Stu. I'm Gavin.
What?
All that neon, all that pink neon. I don't know what vibe they're going for, but it seems a little bit
It's very floral
Hawaii
and
spa to me.
pretty. When was the last time you were in the Hawaii spa?
Oh God, it's been a while now, since COVID. I've never been in Hawaii. So
All right. So how would you know? Anyway.
I've seen images.
I'm just speechless at what you think massage parlors and strip clubs look like on the inside.
Well, from the outside, they seem very neon heavy.
Yeah.
And that's my point. How are you?
I'm okay. I tentatively don't have COVID.
Yay.
Yay.
So just the same as any other week then.
Yeah. Well, at least this week we know for sure because the kids and I went to go sit in line in a long line of cars to get rapid tested because the kid that Benny sits next to in driver's ed tested positive.
Yeah, it's ripping through the school.
Oh God. Stella had said before we became part of that statistic that on Thursday, 32 kids were out in her grade and 11 kids were out of band. That's quite a chunk. And a friend of mine whose son goes to the private school here in town, the private school, the alternative school.
The fancy one.
Yeah,
the one that has academy in the title.
Right, yeah, and then the kids have to wear uniforms. But otherwise, it's basically the same. They had 90 kids out.
Oh, I would not have thought there's many more kids than that there.
Yeah. And yet they're insisting that, it's fine. We'll figure it out and we're going to stay in school even though there aren't enough pupils left to teach and there aren't enough teachers left to teach them.
Right.
My friend who works for the schools, Sarah has COVID, as does her husband. They just bought a new house. So thank God they're stuck in their new house and not in their old toty apartment.
Oh. Well.
So thank God for small blessings. Anyway, it just seems like this is a lot worse than they're letting on. Or that anybody wants to.
Which feels like it's been the case for more than a year now.
Yeah. Remember when they said, oh no, Joe Biden will take this seriously, unlike the other guy.
There's just this. I don't want to go into this.
No, we really don't.
That's no
we
fun
really
to talk
don't.
about.
It's not fun. It's not. It's not. But
so apart from
politicians are going to politic.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Right.
Anyway.
At least Joe Biden can identify a party. Let's just leave it at that.
How are you?
Yikes. Yeah, I'm all right. I am fine, thank you. I was feeling a little run down this week. I'm feeling a little bit better today.
Well, that's good.
So that's what I think they call progress.
Yes. Fingers crossed. We ain't dead yet.
We ain't dead yet.
No.
And the new Scream's out, which I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
We're going to see that tonight or later on today.
Hopefully.
Fantastic. I think the last one I saw, Scream 4, was with Tommy Fitzpatrick. I think I went to see... I don't think I went to see it with him. I think I went to the movies and he was there.
Ah.
he liked to sit in the front row at the Cineworld World in Falkirk.
He's a masochist.
Which he sold me on the front row. I think
hate the front
not
row.
the front row, not the front row that's far too close. You know, where there's a little space between the sensible seats and then there's nowhere else to sit seats.
Right.
So he would sit in the front row of the sensible seats. It's a good place to sit, but he would sit there with sandwiches that would sneak into the movie
That
theatre.
sounds like Tommy.
So I think I saw that with him, which must be now.
It's like
12
over
or
10
13 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, maybe not as much as that. Maybe 11 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They just
It's been a while.
They just keep trying to pull these ancient franchises back
Right.
by the skin of their fingernails because they're just so terrified of new stories.
People are terrified of news stories.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Case in point,
Thankfully, there was no news stories in Coronation Street this week.
Matrix Resurrections, which was the only Matrix movie you've ever seen.
I think I might have seen parts of The Matrix. I don't think I've seen it all the way through. But I think I knew enough of it, and I think I'd seen enough of it to know that I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of part of the culture now, so that even if you haven't seen it, you're aware of.
I knew about the red pill and the blue pill.
Right, yeah. That's kind
That's
of
pretty much all I know. Anyway,
Anyway, we're
Shall-
not here to talk about the Matrix Resurrections.
shall we preamble a Medea?
Yes, please.
Give me some of that White Rabbit Corrie news.
You say it's your birthday.
It's your birthday.
No, you're supposed to go da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
What?
It's my birthday too, yeah.
What?
Do you not listen to the Beatles at all?
Not regularly, no.
Anyway,
It's your birthday.
this works better. You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday too, because it was only fitting that Hope and Joseph got so much airtime this week as real-life twins Isabella and William Flanagan celebrated their 11th birthday.
11 years old.
11 years old.
11 years young.
Same age, same genes, same DNA, and yet Isabella towers over William.
Yeah.
And William has far more freckles than Isabella does.
Yeah, I don't think they're identical.
Well, no, because they're boy and girl, so
Right.
they wouldn't be identical.
Right.
But still, they're so cute. And it's so smart of the show.
They're so cute.
It's so smart of the show to make them cousins. I think that works out really well.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah. Apparently their big sister works on
Emmerdale.
Emmerdale,
Yeah.
yeah. So this seems to be a trend that, child stars.
Family business.
Yeah. Because Jude Reardon's brothers are also in the business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
And their dad was...
Jacob and Lydia are siblings in real life as well.
Right, yes. But they're not as cute. Because they're
Correct.
older than 11.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't their birthday this week.
It was just really fun seeing the two of them together in a scene because we haven't
Right.
seen that in
In a
I
God's
don't know
age.
I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk about this I'm sure as we get through it.
Absolutely.
But little Joseph is fair coming along. And
Yes, he is. He's now that he's finally been given a chance to,
Right.
have an actual storyline.
Yeah,
of his own.
the two of them together, I think, probably bring each other along
Yes.
a little bit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's just delightful to see.
Yes. So happy birthday
Happy my birthday to them.
to Isabella and William. Probably named after royalty, I'm assuming.
Isabella, I think is that a Spanish queen?
That
I
is
don't
a
know.
Spanish queen. And William could be any
Anything.
number of kings.
Anything.
Any number
Or
of
just-
kings or princes.
Or just Bill down the road.
Or my Uncle Billy.
Sure, that'll be what it is.
Someone not celebrating this week was Jack P. Shepherd, who is the latest Corrie actor to contract COVID.
Yeah, and he seemed to have some symptoms of it as well.
Yeah,
He wasn't asymptomatic, or
No.
he couldn't smell or taste.
He felt fine, but he couldn't smell his shower gel.
Right.
That's kind of what he noticed first, is that he couldn't smell his shower gel, which I can imagine being kind of weird. Because your shower gel has a distinctive smell. That's why you buy it, because you like the smell of it and you want your body to smell of it all day.
I'm familiar with 5 people buy shower gel, yeah, and to make them clean.
Yes. Yeah. So that's it. It seems like more people involved with Coronation Street have had COVID than haven't had COVID at this point. So I think pretty much all of the actors have.
Have they?
Yeah. Because let's remember, Simon Gregson had it first, and that was
that's right.
like in the
God,
very
I
beginning.
Forgot about that.
And then Charlie DeMello had it and didn't know until afterwards when he tested positive for the antibodies. Remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Yep. This is all the best of Corrie news for the last couple of years. Yep.
And finally, Sophie may have broken her wrist on a moped,
Sure.
but don't expect her to come home to convalesce. Brooke Vincent has announced this week that she is retiring permanently from the cobbles to focus on motherhood. So no more Sophie.
I think her contract expired some time ago and it hasn't been renewed. But I think there was the expectation that once she'd got all the motherly things done, which, for 18 years later, then she would come back. So the door was kind of left open for her. And I thought it was quite interesting that she was mentioned this week in the show.
Right.
Because the last that we heard of her, she was touring the Far East with Kate, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And now she's in Crete, which is much, much closer to home than the Far East is. So I thought maybe she's
Slowly
winding her way back to
home.
the cobbles, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, which is a shame. I like Sophie
Yeah.
in her jean jacket.
So, yes. So that's another lesbian down permanently.
We've got a lesbian down! Medic!
So we just have to rely on Dr. Gaddis and the bisexuality of Nina and Asha,
Which I'm still not sure is a thing. But
which is fine. And that's Corrie News.
that's Corrie News. On to our mailbag. Peggy wrote in to say, hello, I'm making this inquiry to know if it's possible to get a total of 350 well-packed boxes of cupcakes, a set of 4 or 6 in each box from your establishment bakery for 350 people on the 22nd of January 2022. The flavour should be vanilla. A carrier agent and his team will pick them up by 3 p.m. on the same day. The box packages are given away to dependent children and homeless individuals for a programme my wife and I are coordinating in the USA and the UK due to the after effect of the COVID-19. Every other logistics would be taken care of by our agent. Please kindly give us the total cost of this imminent service plus tax, if any. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
She's mistaken us for someone else, hasn't she?
Thanks for that, Peggy.
Is there a bakery called Talk of the Street somewhere in America?
I don't know.
You didn't think to look this up?
Nope.
Did you respond to her and say, I'm sorry, I think you've got the wrong person?
Nope. And now we'll podcast for coffee.
You're a dick.
Thank you to Jeanette for our coffees this week.
Thank you, Jeanette.
I am drinking my coffee from my new Mr. Osborne is a Fanny mug.
In a Rocky Horror Picture Show sort of font.
Yeah, it's a kind of graffiti, I think is the name of it.
Really? Because it looks more blood drippy than...
Yeah, I've put the drips in to make it look like wet paint. Or blood.
Maybe you should have gone with a different color then. Because that makes it look like we're plotting to murder Mr. Osborne.
And you're drinking yours out of We're Plotting to Murder Mr. Osborne mug.
No, it's the big, massive SpongeBob one that you use for soup.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeanette, for our coffees this week. We really appreciate it. If you want to buy us coffee for next week's show, go to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/the talk of the street. $5 gets me and Helen some quality dairy gas station Joe. If you want to give us a little bit more, we might go to Bigby's. But thanks for that. It's very much appreciated. And now let's move on to our news section, which is called New Tubes.
What is this?
We've had a little bit of a spike in our YouTube channel over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, excellent.
So I thought it might be worthwhile just taking a little second to mention it here and what's new in it and maybe what's coming up.
Oh, yeah, because you did something that's not just the podcast.
Well, on our YouTube channel, which doesn't really have a proper name yet because we don't have enough subscribers. So please, I believe the phrase is smash that subscribe button. Go
Hit
to
the bell.
and click the bell or whatever. If you search on YouTube for the Talk of the Street podcast, it should take you straight to us. We have the podcast, obviously, is on it, and some classic Corrie superb cuts where I go through multiple episodes and put stories together in a kind of linear format to make it easier to consume. So I did that this week for Forward with Freshcos, which was the story of Fred and the Freshcos gang going on an outward bound course where they think it's going to be a little bit of luxury at a manor hotel, but it turns out to be lots of getting shouted at by a Scottish soldier type.
Nice.
Head along to our YouTube channel, please subscribe, and now this.
Oh, welcome.
And welcome to Last Year Tonight with me, John Oliver. Just enough time to quickly talk about swearing too much.
So the story of your life, then.
That's right. This was Addie role-playing a difficult customer with Cathy and Bernie and worrying that he was swearing too much. Nope, just right, said Cathy. I was Gavin and you were still in the bathtub. This was Helen in the tub too.
Yes.
Your dad being awake and talking was a cursing a blessing, you said.
Yes.
Back in Michigan, the house was still standing. Peter's continued and inexplicable solo residence at the Rovers is threatened when a stolen bottle of whiskey gets him on Jenny's radar. A chance conversation between Tracy and Nick eventually puts Leanne's plans of spending the week in her jammies pretending to be in France in jeopardy. Dev decides to treat his time-travelling twins on the occasion of their 16th birthday by airbrushing their mother's name from the front of his shop. Asha listens to the advice of Nina and Yasmin, does what she's told, decides to forge her own path, and tells ITV Corrie that he can keep his birthday present in his trousers. It's musical chairs time for Seb, Emma and Alina as an impending skyscraper forces them to get creative to find new places to live. Ray calls Roy an imbecile and as a result is almost immediately accosted by two masked thugs. Johnny forgets what Jenny smells like. Ali McAllister really should have taken a transfer when he had a chance. Sandra is shown the outside menu. Remember Sandra?
No.
You don't remember Sandra? She was just an extra whose only task was to be shown the outside menu by Ray and then was never seen again.
Oh.
And Ruby's rash is back.
Oh, no.
Our moment of the week was Dev and Addie dancing when Asha dumped ITV Corrie. And the boring moment of the week was Daisy moaning about living with Emma and Alina, which I can't remember her ever doing.
Well, that's because they never had to move out because the thing was stopped.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. They were all going to move in to Jenny's.
All of them were?
Well, Emma and Alina were.
And at the pub?
Yeah.
God, I've no memory of that.
Yeah.
And that was Coronation Street and the Talk of the Street this time last year.
So much has changed since then.
So much.
So much.
Shall we dive in, my dear?
Alina's gone. Yes, please.
Remember last week when you went on about how you hadn't seen Chesney in a while?
Did I do that?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it once.
Yeah, you get the Coronation Street you deserve. Our first storyline this morning is Painting Over the Past. On Monday, Pink Speed Dial is readying for its grand reopening. Between that and Zeedan and Mariam getting back together, Yasmin is about set to soil herself. This gives Mariam time to reflect on all the damage her dad and her brothers caused. Alya tells Ryan that she thinks this is a big mistake, and the truth will out. Outside, Alya and Zeedan are arguing about the dishwasher that's still broken. They paid money to get this dishwasher fixed. Or a new dishwasher.
Yeah, they were supposed to be getting a new dishwasher, but shipping stuff and boats clogging the Suez Canal and all of that stuff. It's not easy to get big, massive dishwashers delivered on time.
From Clint.
No, this was before Clint. This is them complaining that the decent one that they were supposed to get wasn't getting delivered on time because they didn't have it yet. And that's when
That's right.
Bertie comes up and says, Hey, my pal Clint can get you anything you want.
He has loads of dodgy contacts for gear like that and has a printer so he can forge receipts and stuff, says Bernie, like this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Alya ignores the alarm bells and thinks this is a belter of an idea. I quite like, though, that the dishwasher being broken has been a theme in the restaurant for a number of weeks now.
Right.
Because I think that it went kaput before the fire.
Yes.
Right. So, that's a nice little callback.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yasmin is so pleased with Homeless Stew that she offers him a full-time position at Speed Dial. This will allow Homeless Stew to save for a deposit on his own flat.
Yay!
And back at
And he still has a gorgeous head of hair.
such a lush head of hair.
Like a lion's mane.
So back at Speed Dial, Clint can apparently get the industrial dishwasher for $1,000. Ryan, Zeedan and Alya chat about how they can afford it and decide between them that the best way to pay for this obviously stolen dishwasher is to use Hashim's dirty cash. And Alya remains unconvinced. In Nina's roles, Yasmin asks that Homeless Stew stays at hers until he finds a place to live. Now she's got to know him better, she trusts him implicitly, and she wants to do the right thing by him after her accusations about the restaurant fire, and Homeless Stew is very touched by this.
Yes, he is.
Alya and Zeedan are coming to terms with the dishwasher situation when Yasmin comes into the restaurant wondering if Zeedan can explain this big satchel of cash that she found in the attic, as she was trying to clean out some space for Homeless Stew.
Yes.
He was going to live in the attic.
Lots of attic
All a bit
action.
Virginia Adams, if you ask me.
Right, but remember, their attic is really nice. They've had work done because that's
It was Tim's dad's
magic room. Yeah.
That's where all the magic happened.
Oh. Because remember, they crawled through the window in the attic
They did.
to get on the roof to kill Tim's dad.
Kill Tim's dad.
Kill him. It was
Bring him to me.
murder.
Zeedan tries to tell her that they talked about this. We talked about this, Gran. Remember the big satchel of cash?
He's such a bad gaslighter.
This is a great tactic. Alya is so done with this and decides to tell her Gran the truth about where the money really came from. So slowly, the extent of Hashim's terror campaign against Zeedan and his haircut comes out. Speed Dial was used as a hub of money laundering. Yasmin is appalled and the dishwasher seems to be the straw to break her back. This reopening is built on dirty money, she says. Zeedan tries to explain that the money never actually stayed in the accounts for any length of time, but Yasmin needs air and she runs away. Zeedan tries to blame Alya for all of this.
Right, yes.
This is your fault for telling her what I've been up to.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Such a dick.
Yasmin comes back and wants to know how Zeedan laundered the money. She sussed that he must have watched her log into the accounts at home. He spied on her. And then she susses that the fire was linked to this too, and the potential murder of Homeless Stew. Z and Alya let Homeless Stew take the blame for all of this. All this conversation is done over the world's loudest dishwasher dying. The Gazette has arrived to interview Yasmin. She talks about how the whole restaurant is based on her father's restaurant in Lahore and how family was the centre of its ethos. Speed Dial has been more than the business to her because it was also built on family values. And after this, Yasmin has to rush off. Alya and Zeedan put it down to the emotion of the situation.
Yes.
Which I guess is kind of true. Just not a very good emotion.
No.
Alya and Zeedan go home to check on Yasmin, but she's locked the door and is black bagging them, hurtling the bags down from an upstairs window where they fall with the ease of a Tim's dad. They go round to the back door, but Yasmin is still fuming about lying to the police, and she tells them both to sling their hooks. She thinks them both despicable, and Zeedan blames Alya again.
Ugh.
At Speed Dial, Alya and Zeedan are discussing where they're going to spend the night. Zeedan sweet talks Mariam into spending the night at her hotel. Alya has more limited options, especially with her and Ryan only being friends, apparently. But Ryan comes to Alya's rescue, and she can share his room in the B&B at the Rovers. Alya is sure it's only for one night, but then she sees locksmiths working on Yasmin's door, and her gran throws her the filthiest look I have ever seen Yasmin throw.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, she is not happy.
No, she is not. She looks like my mum.
She does a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be something that they teach you at grandmother school.
I think it just comes naturally, doesn't it? But oh, that look of disappointment.
Oh.
You'd never want your gran to look at you like that.
No, you don't.
Never.
Never.
Do you think she's right?
Disappointment and anger. I think it's kind of unfair to be putting so much blame on Alya, who...
Well, of course.
only just found out about it, you know, and at that point there was really nothing they could do, you know, because I don't understand why they haven't explained, look, he was threatening your life. You know, we had no other option but to do this because he was threatening to kill you.
Yasmin says something, I don't know if she said it yet, but she says something where she's not frightened of any man. Mm-hmm. I think Alya and Zeedan were trying to protect her because of the whole Tim's dad stuff.
Right. Well, Alya especially was.
Right, that was reaching its anniversary. Whereas what they probably should have done is run to tell her rather than keeping this from her.
Yeah.
Make an absolute point of telling her as quickly as possible because Yasmin might just take care of this shit for you.
Right, yeah. And I mean, I think Alya did say at one point we need to tell Gran and, you know, and then we'll figure out how to get out of this. And Zeedan was like, no, we can't do that because she's this fragile old lady and plus we have no other options because Hashim is such a bad dude.
Right.
He's so bad, he's going to have a heart attack on our floor.
It's terrifying.
So terrifying. He walks into cameras.
Clunk. On Wednesday, morning in Speed Dial and the restaurant is a mess. Zeedan thinks tidying up will put them back in Yasmin's good books. And learning about the changed locks does nothing to change that opinion. And then Homeless Stew comes in and he's singing a wee song for Yasmin.
Yeah, that was cute.
It goes on for a bit though, didn't it?
It did.
Felt like it was like at least half an episode was Homeless Stew thinking of things that rhyme with Yasmin.
Right. And she jumps in and helps him.
Well, he was struggling.
It was cute though. It was cute.
Then he and Yasmin.
If she can't be a lesbian, I don't mind her, you know, eventually getting together with Homeless Stew.
I think
that's the way the show is
they're
leading.
moving in those directions.
Yes. Remember the movie and the fact that she Googled the movie.
Voggled, I think you'll find she did. Yeah, she. There's mention this week of Homeless Stew's family, where I'm sure he said just a few weeks ago that he recently split up with his wife and lost touch with his family. Right. Whereas this week it was kind of...
Yeah, when he became homeless, and initially it was suggested that he hasn't been homeless for very long.
Hence the luscious hair and the perfect teeth.
Right.
A little bit dirt under the fingernails when we get a chance to look at them, but that's just a nice touch.
Yeah. But I like that Homeless Stew has become a regular, though.
Yeah.
It's just, it would be nice if they got his story straight.
Or if he got his story straight.
Because we said at the time, he seems a lot more experienced in being homeless than somebody who's only just recently become homeless.
Yeah, and he's managed to keep hold of that guitar and not had to pawn it or anything like that. And yeah, it seemed a fairly recent occurrence.
But he did the first time say wife, and now it's ex-wife.
Right. So I think that feels like it's been mentioned just to clear that up.
Right.
So it opens the door for a...
Stu and Yasmin.
For a Stasmin? That'll do.
For a you.
Yes, I think that needs at least one more syllable. So...
Yitsu.
So then, Homeless Stew and Yasmin notice how clean Speed Dial is, and Zeedan and Alya jump out. Ta-da! It was us! Forgive us yet? Yasmin tells them both to bolt. Homeless Stew says, "You heard the lady," and then he threatens to sing his Yasmin song again. So Alya and Zeedan make a run for it.
Zeedan is so clueless because he's constantly saying to her, "All right, well, what do I need to do to make it up to you?" And she's like,
and he says
nothing.
He says it with a sigh as well.
Right.
That's how you know that he really means it.
Right. Yeah. It's so, obviously favored child for so long that he does not understand when someone is mad at him.
Correct. Later, Mariam comes into Speed Dial looking for Zeedan, and she learns from Yasmin that he chucked her grandson out of the house. Is there a problem here, asks Homeless Stew, because he's the bouncer now at Speed Dial. Mariam wants to know what's going on. Speak to your husband, says Yasmin, or better yet, don't, and just run a mile. Alya and Zeedan are licking their wounds in Nina's rolls when Mariam bursts in, demanding to know what on earth he's done that was so bad that Yasmin kicked him out. Zeedan calls it just a small thing that'll blow over, but it's personal and he doesn't want to get into it. It's hard to explain. Mariam is tired of being lied to, and maybe getting back together was a mistake because she can't give him the benefit of the doubt. She storms out and Zeedan just lets her go.
Yes.
Back at the restaurant, Zeedan tells Alya that he loves Mariam and has decided to tell her some of the truth. Not all of the truth, just selected highlights of it. Alya points out that if he does that, he, she and Ryan could end up in prison. Take your pick between that and getting your consensual hole. Zeedan arranges to meet Mariam in speed dial. He's ready to tell her the truth. He doesn't love her. He never really did. He's been pretending because he's that sort of guy, and he also wanted her family's money, which is why Yasmin kicked him out. Sorry, babe, I'm an asshole. Confused and upset, Mariam leaves. So Zeedan and Alya watch Mariam get into a black cab and leave the street. Probably for the best for everyone, says Alya, but Zeedan, who consistently fails to see himself as a catalyst for this whole chain of events, blames Alya yet again for ruining his chances of finding love.
He's so awful.
Then on Friday, in Nina's rolls, it's Ryan's 30th.
Huzzah!
But we don't get a chance to talk about it because Zeedan wants to talk about his Mariam leaving and how neither he nor Alya have money to rent a flat. How have they no money?
Yeah, have they not been saving money at all from their paychecks? None?
They don't. They both live with their gran.
Right.
So they don't have really any outgoings.
No.
How can they not afford... I mean, Emma can afford a flat, right?
Well, with Tyrone and...
She can afford
other
to find a
people.
place to live.
Right.
And as far as I can see, they haven't even been fucking trying to look for a flat.
No.
The idea is floated about using dead Hashim's dirty money, but Alya thinks doing so would end things with Gran for good.
Yes.
So at speed dial, Yasmin makes it clear to Homeless Stew that she hasn't heard from Alya or Zeedan and isn't going to lose any sleep over it. Family is everything, says Homeless Stew, and he urges her to rethink.
Except for mine, who I won't even go looking for, not even my daughter.
Right. Don't you think about... Look, no.
No.
Don't think about looking for
No,
them.
but family's everything.
If there's one thing, it's family.
Right. Yes,
Apart from mine.
he's become, what's his name? Oh, God, what's his name?
Are you going to need to give me more than that?
The bald guy in the Fast and the Furious movies who's always talking about family. Oh, God, what's his name? Vin Diesel.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
No, he doesn't talk about family. He just
Doesn't he?
likes to beat people up.
Vin Diesel doesn't beat people up?
Well, he does, but he also talks about family.
Oh. I get the sense that Vin Diesel talks about family in the Fast and Furious movies.
Right. Which is more than he does in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, where he just says, I am Groot, over and over again.
Fucking hell. How they get away with this, I don't know. So later, Zeedan goes to speed dial, telling Yasmin he has nowhere else to go. She asks how many of his friends are still dependent on their grandmothers. You're a big boy, she says. Figure it out.
Seriously.
He floats the idea of using dead Hashim's death money, and Yasmin, if anything, gets angrier, accusing him of profiteering from poor Mariam's dad dying, and she throws him out of the restaurant.
Yeah. He's so clueless.
In Nina's rolls, Clint is just finishing a shite when he runs into Alya and Zeedan, still a bit miffed about the dishwasher. They're distracted when Ryan comes in to announce that someone from another storyline has made a donation into another storyline of £29,000.
Yes.
And they're like, well, that's Gran.
Yes.
And that's Gran's money.
Yep.
They remember to knock the grand off for the dishwasher, which I thought was quite funny.
Yes.
So they only put in 29 as opposed to 30.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't it 50?
No, it's 30.
Was it 30?
Yeah.
And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a little unfair for Yasmin to be so against Alya, who she only accidentally kind of fell into this.
She did let Hashim die on their living room floor.
Yasmin doesn't know about that part. Can you imagine how she's going to feel if she ever does find out about that part?
You think she hasn't put two and two together yet?
No, it's just about the money.
So just a coincidence that he died in their house then?
Well, yes. I don't think that she's assumed that her granddaughter has just stood there and allowed a man to die. Because that doesn't seem like something Alya would do.
He was died anyway, I think,
right.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was not. Even if they'd called an ambulance, I don't think it would have helped. I still don't understand why they didn't call an ambulance, because it wouldn't...
Well, I think they did, but after the event...
Right, yeah, Ryan. It took Ryan to call the ambulance.
After Alya had kicked him in the stomach a few times. And
after she'd
pinched his
hesitated.
nose.
But she didn't hesitate for that long. she kind of makes it seem like, if it weren't for her, he'd still be alive. I don't think that's the case.
No. We will never know, though.
That's kind of not how heart attacks work. And that coronary doctor in another storyline could probably explain that to her. A lot of heart issues on the street. You'd think that they'd maybe cut back on the hot pots and the fish and chips.
It's just too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy to give someone a heart attack at a high moment of stress.
Even when the heart condition is fake, it's too easy.
Yeah. Hashim's heart attack. That was hilarious, wasn't it?
It really was. I laughed. I laughed watching this pretend man die.
I'm not sure we weren't meant to laugh at that. I think that was done for comedy. He was so over the top, determined to be... As Helen... Well, it's a movie. 3 words. Fast and the Furious. No, he was so relentlessly despicable.
It was camp, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. He might as well have had the twirly moustache.
Right.
And the cape.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, he's dead now.
Is Yasmin going to be able to maintain her position on this long term, do you think? She's her gran.
I don't know. Well, I think they have to genuinely be sorry. And I think Alya and Ryan are genuinely sorry. I don't think Zeedan is genuinely sorry yet.
No. And we
I
could
think
have
it's
got rid
going to
of
take
him.
a while.
He could have been allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And taking all this business with him.
Yeah. Oh, well.
What exactly is he bringing to this?
I don't know.
Not a huge amount.
I don't know.
I'm really sorry to see Mariam leave, though.
Yes. Yeah. That made me sad because she's better than Zeedan.
And I kind of get the impression that she was only brought in to leave.
Yeah.
I don't think she's coming back. I don't get the sense that she's coming back. She left in a black cab, remember? Although that no longer...
Yeah.
That's no longer
Roy
a
came
thing
back.
after Roy.
Roy came back.
I don't know. It's just a bit...
And we've had people leave forever who didn't leave in a black cab.
Yeah. But at least they got the dishwasher fixed at the end. So that's the main thing there. Our next storyline this morning is Tim's Health MOT. On Monday, Tim gets home after spending the night at work. Sally has worn out 2 stress balls with worry. He reiterates that he loves her and he fancies her and he puts everything down to having a stressful day. Later, Aggie catches up with Tim. He apologises for the way that he spoke to her, and Aggie more cares about Tim's health, and they go off for a cuppa. And they go for a cuppa back at Aggie's, which I thought was quite...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had that whole thing last week where I was absolutely convinced that, well, there's absolutely nothing going on here.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything
And
going on.
there isn't.
But why did they go to her house as opposed to the calf, which is where people go to have a cuppa?
Right. I don't know.
Yeesh. So they go back to Aggie's and she cuts through the bullshit. She knows Curtis's heart doctor guy pretty well and suggests that she tries to get an appointment today for Tim to listen properly this time and get this taken care of once and for all.
Yes.
So they go back to the hospital. Tim looks for an excuse to leave, but Aggie threatens to bite his throat out if he tries anything.
So he begins to hum Little Willie.
He does. Tim gets a rundown of the triple bypass from Curtis's heart doctor. A 6-hour op, a week in the hospital, and 12 weeks off work. Tim looks like the news is about to give him a heart attack. The doc tells him to wait at home for his letter to get a date. Aggie drops Tim off round the corner from his house. She tells him that the tough part of her job is seeing people who have no one who care for them. Don't take this opportunity to care and love for him away from Sally. What a horribly constructed sentence that was. Basically what she's saying is, Sally wants to love and care for you. Don't take that opportunity away from her by keeping her in the dark about this.
Right.
Which really was a nice thing to say,
Yes.
despite how I have expressed that.
Right. Yeah. And that she sees people all the time in the hospital who have no one to care for them.
Right.
For one reason or another. And that's horrible to watch and see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tim goes home with every intention of telling Sally, but he's interrupted when she gets a call to let her know that Sophie has been in a moped accident in Crete. and has broken her wrist. So he keeps his mouth shut. On Wednesday, Sally needs to release some of the tension from the last few days and suggests firing up the hot tub. Tim pretends to remember that he has a pickup that he promised to do, so her soak will have to be solo, and he leaves. Jenny and Sally bump into each other in the street, and Jenny lets it slip that she saw Tim earlier with a massive bunch of flowers.
Yes.
Having an affair big, that size of big flowers.
Right, yeah.
Not just a, sorry that I burnt the dinner size of flowers. I've had an affair. Sally mentions some of the problems they've been having, but looks touched that Tim is at least trying to make amends.
And they have like this cute little girly conversation where Sally asks after Jenny's new man, Leo.
Leopold, yeah.
Yes. Ha.
Apparently things are going fairly well in that regard. She's taking it easy though.
Yes, she's taking it slow, but so far so good.
Yeah, they're not at the blaming the dog for farting
Right.
stage of the relationship.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
That apparently Sally and Tim are at.
Right, even though they don't have a dog.
Right, but that doesn't stop Tim.
No.
But Tim has bought the flowers for Aggie as a thank you. She's pissed that this likely means that he hasn't told Sally about his heart operation. Timing is everything, says Tim, and he asks Aggie to keep his secret for a little bit longer. Tim gets home.
Which Aggie agrees to and then says that she'll lie to Ed about where she got the flowers from.
Yeah.
That she's going to say that she got the flowers from a patient.
Right.
Which Aggie has no reason to lie to Ed about where the flowers came from.
No.
And in lying to Ed about where the flowers came from, that makes it look more suspicious that something's going on between Aggie and Tim.
As if Ed's going to notice.
He notices some things.
Well, if the plot dictates, but Ed wouldn't notice that. Oh, nice flowers. That wasn't a bad Ed impression.
It was a terrible Ed impression.
But not a bad one.
I think terrible is worse than bad.
Well, thank you for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
Doctor impressions. Tim has no business giving Aggie flowers here. It's one thing to, in fact, this whole kind of friendship just is built on sand here. It exists for the wrong reasons because Tim should be telling Sally about this.
Correct.
So the fact that Tim has gone to the doctors not once but twice with Aggie and
has
now bought her flowers
now has agreed to this triple bypass surgery
and still not told Sally about it. This isn't Tim. I don't buy this. So Tim gets home and immediately wants to go to bed. Sally tries to probe Tim about the flowers
but not like that.
not again. Without actually saying so, but he ignores it and heads up the stairs of discovery, ignoring a great opportunity to tell her the truth.
Correct. Because he doesn't want to tell her the truth because she's still worried about Sophie.
Mm-hmm. On Friday, though, it's good news. Sophie's insurance will cover her Greek operation. But not like that.
Haha.
Sally has had enough of pussyfooting around this and demands her fucking flowers.
But not like that.
The ones that Jenny saw him buy. He lies and says they were for a driver at work who's retiring. You don't know him, he says. He lives in Canada. Sally spots a leaflet calling for a ban on Wethy County's new training ground and quickly deduces that Tim must have told Gary, who must have told Marie about that. And she is not happy about it. Did you tell Marie about this?
Over a month ago.
Did you tell Marie about this? No. Did you tell Gary? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
Yes, that was funny.
Peter bumps into Tim in the street with news that one of their fellow county fans, potty-mouthed Graham, has had a heart attack. Tim takes offence that Peter thinks that he should know about all the heart attacks in the area. So
that was kind of funny.
So Peter tracks Tim's down to Nina's Rolls. And
I wonder if the potty mouth guy lives with the glass eye guy.
No, because he lives quite far away.
Oh, okay.
He was down in Portsmouth, I think.
I just love that there are these tertiary characters somewhere in the ether who have very distinct personality traits that we'll never get to see, but they're funny nonetheless.
One guy has a glass eye, another guy has Tourette's. Peter tracks Tim down to Nina's Rolls and Tim apologises for snapping and eventually tells Peter about his upcoming triple bypass. Peter is shocked and guesses that he hasn't told Sal. Peter begs Tim to do the right thing and tell his bloody wife about all this.
Seriously.
So Tim gets home and somehow as he walks through a door that he and Sally walk through multiple times each day, he knocks his wedding photo off the sideboard and it smashes on their carpeted floor. Oh, pig's tits, says Tim.
Correct. It was like, it looked like it had been moved slightly and that it was like on a corner of a table.
The door hit the sideboard.
Yeah. Why?
Why now does it hit the
It's
sideboard?
never done that before.
Sally arrives at the Rovers where Maria is hanging out with Jenny, and they immediately start arguing about the county training ground and Maria's duplicitous use of Gary to probe Tim for information.
But not like that.
Maria accuses Sally of taking backhanders, and Jenny is the top bitch here though, shuts them both up and reminds them of other more important storylines that are going on at the moment.
Yes.
So Sally gets home, still in the mood from their argument with Maria, and when Tim asks what's for dinner, he tells her Italian, get your own, which was... I thought that was lovely. I thought that was beautiful.
It was.
Because now I think Tim was probably ready to tell her.
Right.
But she's in such a foul mood that he doesn't.
No.
So here was me last week.
Maybe he should have made dinner if he was ready to tell her.
So here I was last week thinking, if he doesn't tell her on Monday, I'm going to be unhappy. And an entire week
has gone by
and he hasn't said a word about it.
Yeah. I'm unhappy.
But now Peter knows.
Right, yeah.
So think how Sally's going to feel when she finally does find out. Because she's going to find out that Aggie knows and not be happy about it.
Yeah.
And she's going to find out that Peter knows and not be happy about it. But it's going to get to the point where the entire street knows, apart from Sally.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to find out next? Do you think Peter will tell Carla? Peter will tell Carla.
Of course.
Surely.
And then Carla might tell Maria.
Oh. Nah, I don't. Why would she?
Because plot.
Carla and Maria don't really hang out though.
Well, they're family.
I
can see them chatting about it. I can see Carla telling Jenny.
Oh, yes.
And Jenny telling Maria.
Yes.
Everyone's going to know apart from Sally. It's so wrong.
It is wrong. It's very wrong.
Wrong diddly wrong.
I would kill you.
Right. I mean, I might not tell you, but don't tell anybody else. Keep it to myself.
You tell Steve.
Oh, yeah, I would tell Steve. I haven't, though. And I don't. A triple bite. No, something that serious?
Yeah.
No.
You'd have to, because you couldn't drive yourself to the hospital. And you couldn't drive yourself home.
Well, yeah, I could drive myself to it. I don't think I could drive myself from it.
And you'd be in the hospital for like a week. And then be convalescing for
3 months.
12 weeks. He's got to tell Sally at some point because she's the one who's going to have to carry the burden of the bills and stuff while he's out of work.
Is he planning to tell her?
As he's being wheeled into the operating room.
Day off. Oh, Sally deserves so much better.
I just don't like the way that they're setting up this accusation of Aggie and Tim having an affair.
Oh, I don't think they've really come out and... Do you? Do you think that they're being obvious about this? I don't think they're being obvious about it. I think
they're being obvious about this with the whole flowers thing. And the fact that, somebody just happened to see Tim with the flowers beforehand.
So Sally's going to get the wrong end of the stick and think that Tim's having an affair with Aggie?
Yeah, because let's remember, Sally thinks that Tim has gone off her. That's what she thinks is going on here.
Right.
Because Sally.
Right. I'm still not sure that that's a plausible plot point to take for Sally. But,
one's a man and one's a woman. This is a soap opera. It's plausible.
All right. Well, we'll see how that develops then. Good to see that Curtis's doctor got another weekly extension to his contract.
Yes.
He has a secretary, apparently. She's the one who makes all the appointments. Moving on then, our next storyline is Lessons with Faye. Just from Monday, just a few scenes. At the flat, Tyrone is off for a run with Craig, which allows Faye and Emma to talk about dead Ted. Emma is fretting about the delivery guy. Faye is sure forensics will have hold of her fake nail by now, and she suggests staying cool and then gently probing Craig.
And I like that.
Just with a tip to find out the extent of the investigation. Craig fell over his ankle during his run, and to Faye's shock, Tyrone fetches him dead Ted's crutch that for whatever reason Emma has failed to dispose of. And even though it's way too short for him, Craig still uses it to hobble to get his ankle checked out.
Right. And then, even though he goes to the hospital to get his ankle checked out, he still insists upon using
He
this
brings it back.
too short, and
Old wooden crutch.
Faye's like, tried to get him to get some metal ones. No, this is fine. No.
It's been in somebody else's sweaty armpit for God knows how long.
That's fine.
Craig is back and signed off work for 2 weeks. Thank God you had this crutch, he tells Emma, and he hops back to the flat. With Craig laid up for 2 weeks, Emma's now worried that they've lost their inside track to the dead Ted investigation. Oh well, says Faye. Then Craig comes hobbling in. He's spotted the initials carved into the crutch that we saw last week. What a fascinating mystery, and he reckons that he'll try to solve it while he's off work. And that's as far as we get with that. So we have this kind of rear window.
But didn't you say you didn't want to be a detective? Didn't you say you didn't like detectiving?
Didn't you just say that people have mentioned that you're shite at detecting, and therefore you should never try it again?
You're better at sitting here on the couch and watching TV.
Right. But Craig's got a wee bee in his bonnet about this.
He does.
And I think since he started getting his hole recently, I think he's got a little bit of bravado about him as well, where he wants to prove himself to Faye that he's manly and is capable of solving mysteries with even just the merest hint of a clue. Where we have 3 letters carved onto a crutch.
Yeah.
Which I can't even remember what they were, but it was T something, wasn't it? T for Ted. T for Ted.
THC,
D for
I
dead
think.
Ted.
Ted dead.
Right.
I'm happy we didn't get much of the storyline this week.
Me too.
Because it's so horrible. I still feel bad for poor dead Ted.
They'll never forget him.
No, especially since that actor will probably be used again in about 6 months.
Yeah, he'll be the next supplier to the cabin.
Right, he'll pop up again.
Mm-hmm. Faye is sure that they'll be taking apart the plumbing for that flat to find, in amongst all the bits of food and detritus, that there's one nail that they can't account for. This isn't Ted's colour. Why would he have this, we wonder? Yeah, again, we're inflating the importance of this dead old man found in his flat. Mm-hmm. There must be suspicious circumstances. Therefore, everything becomes evidence when it's not. It's very frustrating.
Yes.
Let's move on then.
Please.
Our next storyline this morning is Summer Wind. The
Summer breeze. Makes me feel fine.
On Monday, Addie meets Summer outside the florist. She's stressed up to her eyeballs about her Oxford offer, which she should be hearing from soon. She's worried that being worried about the Oxford offer is going to affect the Oxford offer. At Nina's Rolls, Roy is chatting to Summer about Oxford being the oldest university in the English-speaking world, and Summer worries that Oxford being the oldest university in the English-speaking world will affect her Oxford offer. Then Summer's laptop pings. It's Oxford, with an offer.
Or a decline.
At home, Summer announces to Billy and Paul that she has a conditional offer.
Yeah, Paul's there.
Yep, they celebrate.
Not Todd, though.
Why would Todd be there?
Because Todd is technically...
They hate Todd.
I know, but Todd is technically still a paternal unit for Summer. Yes? Somehow.
They hate Todd.
We all hate Todd. Well, we don't hate Todd now.
We kind of love Todd now.
Yeah.
They celebrate, but she's not happy. Conditional on her exam results. She doesn't think this is anything worth celebrating.
Yeah. Because she's been known to fail exams.
I remember being asked by one of my friends, so this is talking about like 1990s, the early 1990s as well, where my friend Finlay got me to phone up one of his friends to pretend to be the university that he'd applied for, to explain that there'd been an actual mistake, and rather than giving them the unconditional offer, which is what he got, they meant to send a conditional offer.
Why would you do that?
Well, I didn't really know what any of that meant, so I just did as I was told. But he didn't take it very well.
No.
Seemed to be quite upset by it.
Why would Ian do that to someone?
Finlay. I don't think you've met Finlay.
Oh, so it's not Ian Finlay.
No.
It's a different Finlay.
Finlay Craig. Yeah, lots of people with first names for their first and last name. I actually knew somebody called Craig Finlay. And a new Finlay Craig, and a new Craig Finlay as well.
Scotland.
Right. Home of the palindromic names. Not gnomes. There's no gnomes involved here.
There may be.
On Wednesday, Addie meets up with Summer in Nina's Rolls and catches her looking up 20 fun things to do in Oxford on her laptop, which makes Summer worry that looking up 20 fun things to do in Oxford will ruin her chances with Oxford. Amy comes in, says hi to Addie, and then totally blanks Summer.
Right. And Summer is excited about a house with a shark sticking out of it, because apparently there's a house with a shark sticking out of it in Oxford, because apparently Oxford is now Miami Beach.
Addie catches up with Amy outside and reminds her of how she and Summer used to be such good friends and recommends that she does something to get back to that. Amy is still a bit hurt about the Daniel thing, but promises to try, especially when she hears that Summer has an offer from Oxford.
A conditional offer.
So later, Amy sees Summer going to her flat, but she's wearing headphones so doesn't hear her calling her. Upstairs, Summer thinks that she has the flat to herself and empties a big bag of chocolate onto the counter just as Amy comes up the stairs and catches her. But Amy is chill about it. Hey, it's your body. But Summer, who's worried that eating too much chocolate will affect her Oxford offer, claims that she bought them for Billy's soup kitchen. The two of them make friends again, and Amy gets Summer's help on her personal statement because she's still going to University College London.
Mm. Yes, because they don't need to worry about Curtis anymore. London!
There we go. Thank you. Jesus. Finally, Summer gets a moment on her own at home and gets wired into her drawer chocolate. Ya beauty, she seems to say. On Friday, Amy is round at Summer's revising, but Amy wants to talk about boys. Who is it that you fancy? Do you fancy Simon? Do you fancy Addie? Or do you fancy Dylan Mycock?
Imagine walking around with the last name Mycock.
I'm just thankful that his first name isn't Duncan.
It could be worse. His name could be Mike Hunt.
It could be Mike Hunt.
Yes.
Or Mark Hunt.
I think Mike
Either
Hunt is worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, there are people with that name.
There are. They're walking around this world.
Just like regular people.
Yes.
You'd want to be known as Michael.
I think so, yes. One would hope.
Yeah, Dylan Mycock, it was said a couple of times.
Yeah. At least his name was Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And not...
Duncan.
Or Robin.
Robin. Yeah, Robin Mycock.
We are children.
Are there any others?
I'm sure there are.
Kevin Mycock? No, that's fine.
Sitting on my cock.
That's not a name though, Helen. You know that's not a name. There's nobody called Sitting On.
You never know. Apple's a thing.
Apple Mycock? No. Duncan, I think's the best one. Robin is a good one though.
Yeah, Robin my cock. That's a good one.
On
Because I thought of it.
On the curtains.
Yeah.
Well,
Yet another tertiary character we're never actually going to meet.
right. If you can think of any other amusing first names to go with the last name Mycock, drop us a line, thetalkofthestreet@gmail.com.
Yes.
I've totally lost my place now.
Oh, they're talking about boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Billy comes in
they're
from
playing Fuck, Marry, Kill with Addie, Simon,
Fuck
and...
Mary?
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Kill Mary?
Mary. M-A-R-R-Y,
Oh,
not
Mary.
M-A-R-Y. Fuck, Marry, Kill. Haven't you ever played
David,
Fuck,
it
Marry,
so
Kill?
sounds like you're saying Fuck Mary.
And then kill her.
Her last name's Kill. Goes to the same pediatrician as Dylan Mike. What the fuck am I even talking about?
And Summer chooses Dylan Mycock. I wonder if people call him Pickle.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think we've got maybe 5 minutes out of the whole Mycock thing. Let's move on.
Okay.
Billy comes in from another storyline to remind you that Summer has a hospital appointment today, but she'd rather go with Amy. Well, thanks very much for nothing, says Billy. At the hospital, Summer has checked out well, but she apparently missed one of her tests last night for her diabetes that she has. Summer claims to have just forgotten that she was revising for Oxford and not stuffing her face with chocolate.
Right.
Leaving the hospital, Amy and Summer bump into Jacob, who looks like he's been kicked to fuck.
Yes.
Amy is still angry about what happened to Simon and Natasha, but Jacob swears that that's not down to him anymore because he's not in that gang.
That's why he's
and
been
he has
beat
the
up.
bruises to prove it. Nobody cares. Back on the street, Amy, Asha and Summer are finishing lunch in the community garden and they're heading back to school when Amy sees Max looking at something dodgy on his phone. The girls are shocked to discover it's an upskirt photo, and then Summer is further shocked to discover that the skirt the photo is up is hers. "You filthy little incel prick," shouts Amy, helpfully. Max insists that he didn't take it, he was just sent it, and he slinks off while the girls discuss what to do. Amy is gung-ho for telling the police and the school shit like this needs to be punished, but Summer isn't sure. But Amy insists it's a crime and needs to be treated as such. So Amy finds Max at Maxine's bench and he tells her, "I've got Faye written down. but I changed it in my head.
Good job.
And now I'm telling you about it." He tells her that he gets 10 of these things a day. It's not a big deal. "It'd be a big deal if it was your skirt, you fucking shitbag," says Amy.
Yeah.
And she promises that she's going to make sure that everyone who handled that photo and sent it on gets suspended all the way to fuck. Summer's nerves are shot to shite enough.
Right.
And this last bit seems to actually ring true with Max a bit.
Yes.
Later, Summer's talking to Addie about the upskirt thing. Addie knew about it, but hasn't seen it, and doesn't know who took it. Summer's upset when Billy comes out wanting to know what's up. She says it's too embarrassing and he wouldn't understand, so "Try me," he says. And upstairs, Billy agrees that this is a police matter, but he has to rush off for an important Christian business. This leaves Summer alone in the flat, and she immediately gets wired into some of that drawer chocolate. And that's as far as we get with that this week. Summer cannot catch a break.
How during a pandemic when you're supposed to be 6 feet away from one another is somebody getting close enough to unobtrusively get an upskirt photo?
Could be at school.
Right, but still, there's supposed to be enough room. How are they packing them in so tightly in the hallway that somebody could just go?
No, I'm like sitting at a desk across from each other. You
Yeah.
could easily take the photograph from under the desk.
If it's somebody sitting across from her at a desk, they'd have to go like this,
Yeah.
and that would be noticeable.
Well, they don't need to go like this because look, I can do it and I'm not even moving out of the microphone range like you are, and I'm taking a photograph up your skirt right now.
Well, you're not, because the skirt covers her knees. Don't they have?
I don't know. Kids these days like to wear shorter skirts, don't
Yes,
they?
but they have a uniform. They have a uniform skirt that would be longer than that.
I don't think it's that long.
I would imagine it would be, because Stelly has to do the fingertip test
That's not
before she wears
Stelly's school
shorts.
that we're talking about.
Yeah, but if a public school in Michigan is making girls do the fingertip test and saying, "No, you can't wear shorts this short," I'm sure a fancy schmancy English school where
It's
kids
not fancy schmancy, it's a comprehensive.
it's fancier and schmancier than a public school in Michigan,
Very unlikely.
because we don't have to wear uniforms. Uniforms mean fancy.
No, uniforms are a good thing because it means that you don't need to worry about what to wear for school.
Right.
But that tends to be just across the board.
Right.
My school was a uniform school and that certainly wasn't fancy.
Fancier than Eaton Rapids. But anyway, I digress. It seems like piling on an upskirt story when we're already on the Summer is diabetic and shoving chocolate in her face, and also bulimic because she's making herself throw up. I think, are we piling too much on to poor Summer's shoulders here?
Are we piling on to Summer or are we piling on to Max? Because Max is becoming a bit of a pervert.
Yeah, but he's not the one who took the photo.
So he says.
Yeah, I don't think he has. I think honestly that he hasn't. That
He's
it was
maybe
sent
not
to him.
taken that photograph, but he seems to react to it with such blasé abandonment that he's probably guilty of taking some of them.
Yeah, it seems like all of the boys except for Addie, because Addie is a treasure, kind of have this, well, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, Addie has Asha to look back on in that
Right.
whole situation,
Yes,
which,
and
which
also-
they do draw attention to the fact that it is a little bit similar.
Yes.
I
And
like
also-
the fact that they're drawing attention to this. I think this is sending out a really good message that this is illegal
Yes.
and it isn't fun.
No.
And Summer, who even without the hassle of being diabetic and without the hassle of Oxford and without the hassle of Daniel,
And bulimia.
it would still be, for her, such an embarrassment and the sort of thing where you read about stories like this where it goes to extreme lengths, where
Yes.
the effect of this can have horrible consequences to it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's great that this has been highlighted and that it's been just dropped in here as a little bombshell to
Yeah.
this.
I don't mind that it's being highlighted, and I agree with you that it's an important thing to bring up. I just think that maybe it should be done with one of the other girls and not the girl that's already been having all of these other storylines, which are also important and valid, piled on top of her. You know, the whole bulimia thing and the whole, diabetes thing. She's going to end up in hospital.
Well, who else could it be? Because it couldn't be Asha, because we've already had the naked video thing. It can't be Amy, because Amy would kill.
Right, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we should explore a little bit of Amy's personality above and beyond the kill stuff, because, deep down, yes, she'd be angry, and yes, she'd be the one to, because she is being the one to, champion, this is bad, this is wrong.
Right.
But she would also be embarrassed, and she would also feel violated. And it would be interesting to explore Amy a little bit more deeply than that.
Right.
Because Amy hasn't really had a storyline since the whole pregnancy thing, which was 2 years ago. Why do we need to pile onto Summer? Why does it have to be, okay, we're piling onto Asha, piling onto Asha, piling onto Asha. Now we're done with Asha. We've spent Asha. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to pile onto Summer and pile onto Summer and pile onto Summer. Even Kelly would have been a better choice, I think, because with Kelly, if it happened, she'd be embarrassed, she'd be upset. And I feel like there would be some people who'd be like, oh, why do you care? I'm sure you've done worse.
Yeah, they'd be slut shaming.
Right. Yeah, which would be an interesting aspect to explore as opposed to sweet, innocent, virginal Summer, who's so terribly embarrassed and has all of this other stuff going on. I don't know. It feels like they choose one girl to pile on and then just pile on all of the horrid stuff.
Yeah, I don't really mind that it's Summer. I do take your point, though, that there are important aspects to her storyline where this kind of dilutes all that a little bit. Where
Yes.
we don't get to really explore one of them all that far because we're juggling, we're spinning so many horrible plates for her at the moment that
Right.
we need to spend time. Because here we have her Oxford stuff. The Daniel stuff was mentioned this week as a kind of recurring embarrassment for her.
Right.
The diabetes stuff was mentioned, and the bulimia stuff was mentioned.
Right.
And now we have the upskirt thing. So it's
Yes.
there's almost half a dozen things
Right.
that are going on for her at the same time. And again, I kind of feel that the pressure of this is going to have some consequence to it.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of horrible to see it coming. We had, back when we started this, the Aiden thing where the aspects of his life that were pushing him towards what he eventually did were kind of almost undetectable, and undetectable in their isolation as well. So it wasn't
Right.
like this builds onto this, builds onto this, builds onto this, or it didn't really come across that way. But here we have a teenage girl who is having these things building up and building up and building up, and it feels almost like this isn't being done as this is an important storyline that we want to tell you about, but as this is another thing that is now on Summer's back, and how much more of this can she take before something breaks.
Right. And again, maybe we don't need that. Maybe just having, because she's already endangering herself with the chocolate
Right.
and the bulimia.
Is she still thrown up?
Well, one would assume that she is still throwing up and that she's still kind of obsessed about being as skinny as possible.
Because we've skipped over that bit, and we've skipped over the
And
looking...
that's my complaint, is that, you'd think with seeing her binging
Yeah,
that there would be, they're
bit.
missing the purging bit. And while I don't mind not hearing a girl throw up in the bathroom, there were ways to imply it without sound effects.
Yeah, I think if we saw her maybe checking her belt again, or something that
Right.
just kind of
Or
jogs
just
your
flushing
memory
the
about
toilet and coming out and wiping her mouth.
that. Right.
Something.
Yeah.
It's just...
I'm very interested to know where this is going, though, because I think so far it's been handled with the kind of shock and outrage that I think it deserves, and I'll be really keen to see where it's going to go next week. I think I saw a little bit of it because I changed some graffiti that I saw to
Right.
Mr. Osborne as a fanny.
Yes.
But I think we seem to be going in the direction where Amy's continuing championing of
Yes.
this is going to have some...
Right.
So draw some heat and light to the whole situation,
Right.
which I think is
And
is
maybe
worthwhile.
And maybe we will find out that the other girls have had this done to them as well.
Right.
And we'll see how
It
people
becomes
react.
a collective, a Me Too sort of thing.
People react to different girls and how they react differently and how the
Right.
girls react differently.
Yeah.
That will make it much more interesting than just piling onto Summer.
Our penultimate storyline this morning is Shona's cabin fever. Here we go.
I did like this. It was a nice little interlude.
And it was essentially that. On Wednesday, for some reason, today is the day that Jenny decides to tell Rita how to run her life when she starts sticking her nose into cabin business, under the impression that Brian isn't doing his fair share, and Rita tells her to mind her own beeswax.
Right, and then they get Addie to take in the boxes.
Yeah.
And he does very nicely because Addie is a treasure.
Yeah, Jenny's like, I'll take care of that. Oh, Yaddy, go and take care of that. So Jenny finds Brian and Cathy in Nina's roles planning a holiday, and she gives them a hard time for abandoning poor Rita. It was Rita's idea, protests Cathy, and it's only for a couple of days. Oh, well, says Jenny, stop holding your piss then, and she storms out. But Brian and Cathy agree to arrange cover.
Right.
Shona has invited Rita in for a cup of tea, but doesn't tell Rita why. Then Brian comes in and explains his encounter with Jenny, and Shona has offered to stand in for him while he and Cathy are away. So Rita explains the processes in the cabin and how Shona will be on her own on Monday because Rita has plans to be trapped under a Christmas tree.
With her dentist.
So you can expect chaos then. On Friday, meanwhile, as other more important storylines are going on, Shona meets with Gordon, the guy who supplies the cabin with its sweeties. He's a bit of a gobshite, but Shona obviously doesn't give a fuck about humouring him, but he wants his tea and jammy Dodgers, thank you very much.
And it's funny because he was not like this the other day with Rita.
Did we see him the other day?
Yeah, because he had just dropped these boxes off with Rita when Jenny came over
Oh, that's
and
right.
started yelling.
That's where the boxes came from.
Yes,
I miss things.
you do.
So Shona has taken all she can and chases gobshite Gordon out of the shop.
You're too busy with your graffiti.
Jenny catches this and tells her that Rita and Brian depend on good relations with their suppliers. Oh, pig's tits, says Shona.
Also, shut up, Jenny.
But later it turns out that Rita has tolerated Gordon for 25 years. If only she'd known that telling him he's a boring shite would have shut him up, she'd have said something decades ago.
Yes.
And Shona seems to have fit in quite nicely at the cabin.
Huzzah!
That's as far as we get with that.
Correct. Yeah, I like Shona having yet another job.
How many is that she's got now?
She works at Nina's Rolls.
She does.
She works opening your ginger ale.
She does. Does a very good job of that.
She doesn't work at the factory. No, okay, so this is only her second job. She doesn't have more than one. For some reason, I thought she had more than one.
And it's only temp. Oh, she works at... oh, no, you've said Nina's Rolls.
Yeah, that's her only job.
So she works at Nina's Rolls.
And she works at the cabin now.
And then she works in the cafe.
That's the same thing.
And then she works at Roy's.
That's the same thing.
Right. Do you think... Because we've... I'm trying to think, is this putting her in a customer service role, what we're going to do to try and rip some humour out of the fact that she speaks her mind?
Well,
but she already does that at the
she
cafe.
already does that at the cafe. I thought it was interesting that she remembered something from her a distinct memory from her childhood this week, because she remembered her friend whose dad ran a paper shop. And she always wanted to run a paper shop because her they got free sweeties. Do you not remember any of this conversation she had with Rita?
No.
What is wrong with you?
I tend to switch off when Rita's on.
Shame on you. We don't get much Rita these days.
I know.
We don't get much Brian or Cathy. It was nice to see them.
It was lovely to see Brian and Cathy.
When was last time? Was the last time we saw Brian and Cathy Norris's funeral? No, because we saw them briefly at Christmas, but didn't we? Weren't they in the? They were in the.
They were part of the ensemble.
Yeah, they were part of the ensemble. They weren't really a part of a storyline.
I think the last time we had a storyline was with Cathy's trolling. Remember?
Right, and then Norris's funeral. It looks like they fixed the guy with the head.
That was fixed the next day.
Was it?
Yeah. It annoys me. It should still have its head cut off.
That would be funny. And then, like, they could just, like, plop, like, a doll head or something on top of it.
Right. Or the head could change depending on the weather.
Or the holiday.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to see more of Shona in the cabin?
Yes. I think Rita and Shona make a good pair. I think Shona will fast become yet another one of Rita's adopted daughters.
Yeah, I don't think Shona's in need of being adopted.
No, but it's nice. Because who else does she have as an older woman to,
Gail.
you know. Yeah, that's great.
Audrey.
Sure. Yeah, those two are great role models.
Gail to tell her about bad marriages. And Audrey to go drinking with. What more do you need?
And then Gail to get annoyed that the two of them are drinking.
Our final storyline this morning is, one of our Josephs is missing! On Monday, at Chesney's, Joseph is begging someone to listen to him about money that he needs for a school trip.
Yes. And also he's got a tear in his jumper.
I've got to say, right up front here.
This was always going to happen.
Yeah, it's remarkable that it's taking so long.
Yes.
But Joseph was always going to be shunned by his own family because of the quads and the money issues that they've been having, because they couldn't just keep their fucking mouth shut and take the Freshco's money.
And also, apparently, having 3 grown adults in that house, all of them with more than one job, is not enough to keep that house running, apparently.
With 5 children in it.
Right.
Right.
What?
But they've taken their time with
Dev
this.
must be very, very bad at paying a fair wage, because he employs 2 of them.
Yeah. But Joseph's little downtrodden Oliver twist is brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Right. Because he's such a wee little cutie patootie with all those freckles.
I know. So nobody's going to listen to him. Chesney and Gemma are more concerned about Alad and the fact that Joseph has worn a hole in his jumper. Nothing that a bit of sellotape can't fix, says Gemma. Sellotape being sticky tape.
Yes.
Imagine fixing a hole in a jumper with sticky tape. I mean, you might as well scream that you have no money.
Well, the hole on its own kind of screams that.
The fact that it's fixed with sticky tape, I think, takes it to a next level. Outside, Joseph tries again to ask for money, but the only cash Chesney has is for his parking at the hospital. Fizz comes along and suggests that Joseph spend some time with Hope. Ches still has sand under his foreskin about this, but has to relent because he doesn't have any childcare options. So Hope and Joseph are being adorable and chatting on the couch. It seems Joseph is getting bullied at school, his jumper has fallen to pieces, and he still hasn't been able to pay for his school trip. Hope has been looking after her cousin and reckons that she knows a way to solve some of his problems. So when Fizz is taking care of the garbage, Hope hands Joseph Fizz's purse and tells him to help himself. He's holding on to the purse when Fizz comes back in. What the actual fuck are you doing, she says.
Yes, she does.
So Joseph runs upstairs where he has a quick bath, and he comes downstairs and takes full responsibility for his actions. Hope has told Fizz about some of the bother Joseph has been getting, and she agrees to pay for the trip, but if he pulls this stunt again, Fizz will be forced to let Hope kill him. Later, and Hope kind of growls. Rawr.
Yes.
Later, Chesney and Gemma drag Fizz out of work to shout at her for paying for Joseph's trip.
I know. Fuck them.
Right.
It's like, I finally went to go pay for it, and they said you'd already paid for it. It's like, well, it was the last day.
But I like Fizz, who actually draws attention to this and says, you pulled me out of work for this?
Right.
Fizz says, maybe if Joseph didn't try to nick the money out of my purse, I wouldn't have had to do so fuck
Right.
y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
At home, Gemma tells Joseph that Chesney said that he'd pay for the trip. Chesney says a lot of things, says Joseph, who isn't in the mood to take any other shite. Fuck your school trip, fuck you, and fuck the quad, says Joseph, and he runs upstairs for another bath. Back at home, Fizz finds out from Hope how bad Joseph's school life is. Hope is his bodyguard from the bullies.
Yeah.
So Fizz meets up with Ches at Nina's Rolls and explains about the Joseph bullies. He thinks Joseph is making up to get out of trouble.
Oh, fuck him. Why is he such a dick to his kid?
But Fizz insists that Joseph has dropped off their radar and deserves to be believed. On Wednesday, Gemma is excited to tell Joseph that she's put a tangerine in his packed lunch.
Yes.
Surely the fruit of the fiscally challenged school child. Chesney wants to grass up Ben and Callum, Joseph's bullies, but Joseph thinks it'll make matters worse. Please tell him, she says to Gemma. So Gemma makes Chesney promise to keep his mouth shut. So Chesney takes Joseph to school, comes back home and says, hey Gemma, remember how I promised Joseph I wouldn't tell his teacher about Ben and Callum? Well, I thought, fuck it, and I told him anyway. Now what's for lunch? Gemma reckons that Joseph will get beaten up about this. Good job, ass. Hope and Joseph are having lunch together on their school trip when Mrs. Anderson comes along to say, thanks to Chesney, she's had a word with Ben and Callum and they've promised that they were only trying to help when they called him a povo little shite bag. No harm done, okay? What's wrong with that teacher?
That's a bad teacher.
Later, Joseph noisily gets home and boy is he pissed. Gemma and Chesney grind his gears about waking the quads, but he couldn't give a fuck.
Seriously.
Thanks for breaking your promise, ass, says Joseph, and he storms off outside, pledging vengeance on the pair of them.
Mwahahaha.
And later Chesney goes out to the yard to apologise to Joseph. He's built a little den with some blankets and stuff outside.
Right.
But when he checks, Joseph isn't there and the gate to the ginnel is off the latch. Joseph is gone.
Yes.
And at this point I'm thinking, run far and run long, young Joseph. Chesney gets back home and explains that Joseph has gone missing. Chesney doesn't seem too concerned though, reckoning that he'll be at the park and he's just doing this to get Chesney back for being an utter shitbag.
Oh, fuck you, Chesney.
But Gemma wants to call the police.
Right. She's like, this is not like Joseph. This is not typical Joseph behavior. And fuck you, Chesney, for thinking that he's doing this just because of you.
So the police come round and search the house, suggesting that Ches calls his friend's parents. And I think at this point, Ches realises that he has no idea who that would be apart from Fizz.
Right.
The search of the house uncovers nothing, so the police leave to organise a search party. Chesney says that he hopes the police find Joseph before he does, and against police wishes, he goes out to look for him too. Fizz is heard and catches up with Chesney, who can't help because she needs to look after Hope. Fizz wonders if this is about the bullies, and then Gemma comes out to tell them both that the cops have found Joseph's jumper in a nearby ginnel. It's cold. Why would they have taken the jumper off? And Gemma blames herself. That jumper was the source of some of the bullying, she says, and the police try to look at this as a positive clue. Bernie has been searching with Dev, and when they take a pit stop for tea at his place, Chesney comes in to let Dev know that he won't be at work tomorrow, and he snaps at Dev when explaining about the sell-by dates. Chesney takes a breath and apologises. He snapped because he really does care about Joseph after all, or something.
Right.
And then at Fizzy's, Hope comes downstairs for a packet of crisps and then takes them upstairs to the attic where she has hidden Joseph. He looks comfier and happier than he has all week. And that brings us on to this week's hard debate. What do you think Chesney's next steps will be now that, to his mind, Joseph has gone missing? A TV appeal? Organise a search party? Focus on the quads now? Or brick his own face?
Brick his own face.
Brick his own face was a run-out winner, 53.6%, 18.8% for organise a search party and focus on the quads now, and a mere 8.7% for a TV appeal.
Which is funny
see
because...
what happens on Friday then. Yeah. I liked when Hope asks for a packet of crisps
And then takes two.
and Fizz says, well, just this once. Does Hope never get crisps? What kind of childhood is that for you don't get crisps? You help yourself to crisps, not near dinner time though.
No.
But outside of dinner time, knock yourself out. Packet of crisps. You want a Twix? Just this once?
Well, she seems to, because she says it with, is it a police lady who's there? There's another person
Evelyn's
there. And it seems like, Fizz is being, is making herself out to be the responsible parent.
No.
'Cause,
Fooling nobody then.
yeah.
On Friday, the search for Joseph continues through the streets of Weatherfield, but with no luck. Every street has been covered, but there's still no sign. Bernie and Dev start up a collection for a reward for information.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Joseph has had a lovely night in Fizzy's attic with the spiders. He and Hope are determined to teach Ches a lesson for breaking promises about grassing up bullies. Ches has taken his frustrations out on a police liaison officer, thinking if it was a posh kid, there'd be helicopters out there looking. Ches just wants to have a go on a helicopter and cries when he realises that won't be happening.
But they do have the helicopter out, the lady points out.
Fizz suggests a TV appeal. I was going to say that, says the liaison officer. Hope is too upset to go to school and is loading up on cereal. Evelyn looks like she's close to figuring something out, but Fizz bursts in and announces that a valuer will be coming round later to have a look at the house, and the moment passes. Hope shits herself a wee bit. I've got a Joseph hidden in the attic. Maybe we need to do something about that.
Yes.
So Chesney is ready to do his TV appeal. He's standing in the middle of the street for some reason. Normally these things happen at the police station or in a house, but we're doing it al fresco. And as he's doing this,
COVID.
Clint moses along and gets the lay of the land from Bernie. Hope watches on, seemingly unmoved from her bedroom window. Gemma is sure to mention that there's a reward for any information, and at that point I'm thinking, I wonder if Hope's got little plans to bag that cash for herself. So Hope causes a distraction by hiding Cerberus out the back while telling Fizz that he ran out the front. Fizz runs off to find the not missing dog, which allows Hope's Joseph extraction plan to swing into action. And then Bernie comes into speed dial with a charity box looking for donations for Joseph's reward. She's been collecting from all the businesses and she's putting up posters. Fizz finds the dog as the valuer arrives. And the valuer thinks that they might be looking for 175 for the place and then asks about the loft space. She goes up for a quick squiz, and apart from some empty tins of pop, there's no sign of Joseph, who by this point is walking through the gasworks part of town on his own
With a tent.
After the appeal, Gemma and Chesney go home, and Chesney has become so deflated that he is now of the opinion that someone has snatched his son and he's probably dead now.
Right, because they do say, like, the first 24 hours are critical,
Right.
and after that, yeah.
Evelyn comes home as Hope leaves, telling Evelyn that she's off to meet Tyrone and look for Joseph. And with all the kerfuffle between the valuation and Cerberus going missing, somehow Evelyn and Fizz have got their wires crossed and have both lost sight of Hope.
Right, because, Evelyn says to Hope, well, it's quite possible there's a child snatcher out there somewhere, so you wait and I will walk you over.
Right.
But let me feed the dog first. And as soon as her back is turned, Hope just sneaks out.
Right.
Because she knows there's no child snatcher.
Fizz checks with Tyrone, who hasn't seen Hope all day. Now Hope is also missing. It's a pandemic with a child catcher on the loose. In Nina's roles, Clint is just finishing a shite when he runs into Alya and Zeedan, still a bit miffed about the dishwasher. They're distracted when Ryan comes in to announce that someone has made a donation into Joseph's reward fund of £29,000. This gets Clint's ears a-wagging.
Yes.
Hope, meanwhile, has found out where Joseph is hanging out on the industrial estate. He has a sleeping bag and Uncle Tyrone's fancy tent with him, and he's wearing Hope's hoodie. She tells him that it's time to go home, but he has to ditch all the extras because it's too sus to go home with all that shite on him. And you never saw me, right? She insists. Hope and Joseph sneak back onto the
She's
street.
such a little criminal. I love her so much.
And they're so focused on avoiding the cops, they're spotted by Clint, who follows behind them. And he corners them in the alleyway of doom and uses Scooby-Doo language to talk them into letting them take them home. Hope agrees if Clint coughs up £100 for the silence, which he does. So Clint takes Joseph home, explaining the story that he found Joseph on the industrial street and on the industrial estate. Groovy. Hope gets home and gets a bit of a row from Tyrone and Fizz, but they're both mostly relieved to see her, so she gets away with it and she runs upstairs. And Chesney is about to leave to do more searching when Curtis comes back with Joseph. Hey man, look who I found. Ches and Gemma smother Joseph in hugs and kisses. You will be well rewarded, Sir Clint, says Gemma.
Yes. Who used to braid Clint's hair when she was a child.
Right. Later, Fizz goes over to see how things are now Joseph has been found. He's asleep on the couch as Chesney explains why he thinks Joseph ran away in the first place, because he betrayed Joseph's trust. Gemma beats herself up about having quads and not being able to make ends meet, and Ches is worried the social will take them all away from them. How could Joseph think that they don't love him? And that's how we end this week's episodes.
Sit down, because
Yeah,
I have a long list.
Listen to the start of this podcast,
Yes.
because, yeah, he was just...
He was such a
was
dick
horrible.
all the way through.
Right.
I'm going to beat that kid up when I find him.
We kill him.
Yeah.
Better hope the police find him first.
Yeah.
Just,
He's doing this just to get back at me.
Joseph just has
He's
such...
lying about the bullies.
Got
Like,
su-
just over and over again.
He's got such a soft voice that... In a house that has Gemma in it, I guess it's quite easy for him not to be heard.
Right.
But he's... Not only is he not heard, he's barely seen.
Right. And they're always shouting. They're always, getting annoyed at him for making even the slightest noise.
Right. Or just having the audacity to want some money for a school trip.
Right. Yeah. Or a sweater without a hole in it.
Right. I mean, there's charity shops. I can understand that they're on a budget and they've got many, many mouths to feed in that house. But you're right.
Again,
there's lots of jobs.
There's lots of income coming in.
And how much food does a baby really eat?
Well, they're not babies anymore. They're walking around.
Are they?
Well, we saw Alad walking.
Did we?
We did. Briefly. Like he had a toy and stuff. It's funny that we never see all of the quads together.
Nope. They were named. There was some name checks.
Right.
Because one of them sleeps with their eyes open, which freaks them out.
Cleo.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah.
I don't know, this felt like a kind of self-contained wee story where he goes missing at the start of the week and then he's found at the end of the week.
Right.
But there's got to be some... This is going to echo into coming weeks.
I love that Clint has to pay Hope and
She demands
Joseph off
She demands
$100 each.
Right, each. By the way,
Yeah.
so
and Clint's kind of like, well, 29 grand, this is fine. But it's funny that he has that much money on him.
that's Alya and Zeedan's for the dishwasher. He got
Right.
$1,000 for that in cash.
That's true.
So,
So this is how we're laundering money now, by giving it to children.
but here's Joseph, who can't afford the school trip and can't afford to fix his jumper, and nor should he be able to afford that. He's now got 100 quid in his pocket, which is going to get found, presumably, because kids that age can't hide anything anywhere for any
That's
length of
true.
time. So somebody's money is going to get found. And then, I don't know, this is looking kind of bad for Clint.
And
A
for
little
Hope.
bit, don't you think?
And for Hope.
Yeah. Hope's done far worse, though, that's the thing.
It's true.
She tried to kill Alina, remember?
Yes. She did try to kill Alina.
And she'd been taking care of Joseph.
Right. And
She's been a
continued
good
to
cousin.
take care of. Yeah.
She's his protector.
Right.
Which is that's a great thing about family and kids that age.
Right.
That they do have a sense of familial loyalty. And nobody's going to beat up Joseph apart from Hope.
Right.
That's my cousin. I'll beat him up.
Yeah.
You two can fuck off.
Right.
Really shocked by the teacher, though.
I'm not.
That,
Teachers are so bad when it comes to bullies.
for believing the bully shit. Oh, we thought it would be nice for Joseph if we had a collection for him. When
Yeah, it's
That's
like
never
that's
done
not,
for the-
that's
for a
not
good
the
reason.
only thing that's been done to him.
no,
But the fact that she was told the day of this field trip, and she's got this field trip to kind of focus on and everything. I think if it was just like a regular school day, it might have been handled better.
yeah, maybe.
But anyway,
So, what consequences do you foresee coming for Hope, Joseph, and Clint out of this?
I'm just trying not to think about it.
For the purposes of this podcast, could you think about it?
No. I really don't want them to have any consequences.
You'd much
Except-
prefer this just to be over and done with.
Yes. Maybe for Clint, but even Clint, I mean, he wasn't bad. He did find them. He was the first adult to lay eyes on them.
That's true.
which was just sheer luck on his part.
Right.
You know, but he does lie about where he found them.
Yeah.
And everything. And
claim the money.
And pretends that Hope wasn't there.
I think if there's anything to be taken from this is that let's hope that Joseph is seen and heard a bit more in that house than he currently is.
And somebody gets him a new jumper. And that...
Well, he's going to end up buying his own.
Chesney and Gemma stop being so dear about things and allow people like Fizz, who is family, to help. You know, it's not like some stranger paid his way or, you know, Jenny down at the Rovers. It's family. It should be fine.
The good thing about, you know, this I think has been kind of set up by the fact that using Fizz as a kind of third parent has been eliminated because of the way that Chesney is choosing to vilify Hope for her past, which never really felt all that great to me anyway. But the consequence of that is that he can't send Joseph round to Fizzy's, and if he can't send Joseph round to Fizzy's, then he can't get fed at Fizzy's because Fizz would just feed everybody, and Fizz would also have a look at that jumper and think, well, take that off and I'll stitch that up
Either
for
she
you.
or Evelyn would have taken care of that months ago.
Right, and plus the other thing that
because
aunts
they
and
only
uncles
have Hope and Ruby
are really good at is a little backhander. Here's a $5 for you, don't tell your parents.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So Chesney himself has cut that possibility completely out of Joseph's life.
Right.
Because Hope tried to kill Alina.
Right, yeah.
But Hope didn't try and kill Joseph.
No. But anyway, it's... Yeah. One would hope that this means that Joseph... And again, we kind of saw this sort of... Something like this happening a mile away, because here he's been the only child for so long, and now he's got 4 siblings all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt sorry a little bit for Gemma when she said, it wasn't my fault that I had 4 kids, but it has meant that money's really tight now.
Right, and our time is really tight. Mm-hmm. But still, pay attention to Joseph. He is still your responsibility as well.
Did you notice a little bit of Gemma and Chesney silently communicating with each other with a bit of sign language?
Yes, that was nice. Right. I liked that. I like that they're continuing that.
Yeah, and it was nice to do it for a wrong reason, which is to keep Joseph in the dark about what they were really talking about.
Well, that's not necessarily a wrong reason.
Yeah. Duplicitous.
Anyway.
Well, that was the week that was Coronation Street.
Yes, it was.
What was your moment of the week?
What was your moment of the week?
No. So I'll probably go with something with Hope and Joseph.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what.
Right.
And that's the problem. There was no, moment
between
the two of them.
Oh, what else have we got? Amy threatening to rip Maxie's throat out. That was pretty good, actually.
That was pretty good. I did like that. And that was really nice because she and Summer had just made up.
That's true.
And become friends again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Amy threatening to rip Maxie's throat out?
Yes.
That is our...
moment of the week.
Sorry, Hope and Joseph.
I don't know. I think you're right. I don't think there was a moment where they were sitting on the couch, but nothing.
And there
really.
was the moment where he swaps the tangerine for a chocolate biscuit, and can't believe that Hope would rather have the tangerine than the chocolate biscuit.
Yeah.
But again, it feels I do kind of feel bad for saying that because we did just give it to Roy and Mary just sitting and playing chess.
Yeah, but Hope has had a moment the week before.
Joseph never has.
Joseph, I think, has one in his future. I'm really enjoying seeing how his
how they're giving him something to do now,
and how well he's treating
doing it.
Now
Yeah,
that he has it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's in the future. But Amy's fury,
yes,
I think is definitely worth it. And I'm not sure if Amy's had a moment of the week, and if she has, it hasn't been recently.
No, it was probably when she was pregnant.
What about your boring moment of the week? What about Huh? What about your boring moment of the week?
Brian and Cathy planning a staycation, only it's not a staycation, and explaining what a staycation is.
Yeah, that was a bit boring.
Yeah.
That's our
Boring moment of the week.
It's good to have Brian and Cathy back.
It is.
But that was pretty boring.
It was.
Alrighty, shall we wrap this one up then?
Yes, please.
If you're looking to go away on a staycation and looking for a brochure, or if you want some cupcakes from us, we're the talk of the street at gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can shout me and Helen a coffee by heading to ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi/the talk of the street. Check out the clicky section of vogle.co.uk for links to our merch store and YouTube channel. And if you're so inclined, please leave a rating and a review on the iTunes or your podcast provider of choice. Thanks for making it to the end of another episode, and we will be back next week with more The Talk of the Street. Bye.
Bye.